put on the spot when I'm in a very good mood because it's like well, I think my playlist is like when I her house.
Will you please rise and join me in a pledge to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let the record show that all trustees are present and accounted for, with the exception of trustee Cardona. No actions were taken in closed session. And at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Been moved in second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. All right, now on to public communication. Members of the public may address the Board of Trustees regarding any special board meeting agenda item during board consideration of that item. Please note that if you wish to address the Board of Trustees on an agenda item, you should do so when the specific item is called for by the board president. And all you need to do is fill out a to be heard card and hand it to Ramon here, and we will make sure that you get that you are able to be heard at that point. Now, by the way, if you're watching us online, there's two different ways that you can do it. You can either submit it through Gamut Meetings, or you can do so in the comments section there in YouTube. Now is the time when we'll allow you, if you want to address the board on something that is not on the agenda, now would be the time to do so. So we'll give you a few minutes to put in your requests. Whenever we do this, I feel like Jeopardy music should be playing. Any public comments? Nope. Okay. Then we will move forward to reports, and we'll start with Robla Education Foundation.
Not much new to report. We're still in the progress of getting ready for June, beginning of July. We do have plenty of funds available for the different school sites and the classrooms want to do a matching grant for a field trip or whatever they may have funds for. And that's about it for now.
All righty. Yes.
My son and his friends are excited about signing up for the fireworks booth. If they haven't yet, they will.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As will the board members, I'm sure.
Sure. All right. Next, we have Robla Teachers Association. How about CSEA?
Superintendent. Mr. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We had a professional learning day in the Robla School District on Monday, March 6th. So there's no school for students. We used that day to do professional learning with all of our staff. Teachers on that day focused on counting collections, which is our new approach in mathematics that we've been learning about through our work with P3CC. And then we also had our team share more information about our ever-evolving mathematics assessments. Training for all of the groups depended on what that group would need. So every department had a different kind of meeting happening depending on what their needs were. And then everybody spent half the day in ALICE training, which is training on the response to an active shooter situation. And that was done consistently around the district. And so now everybody is up to date. With that, obviously, we have to follow that up and make sure we continue to refresh that work. But we got that initial step taken care of on Monday. I want to acknowledge Mr. Penman and his staff for all the work that they put in to pull these very complicated days together. Thank you, Mr. Penman, for that. I'd like to mention Robla Soccer is up and running. This is an activity that our PE teacher team puts together every year, an annual district soccer tournament, and so that'll be taking place over the next few weeks. Two schools will face each other every Thursday after school. They take place on the soccer field at Main Avenue. Our first games were held last week, and then unfortunately today's games were rained out. The California Association of, I'm not going to remember what all the letters stand for, School Public Relations, I think that's right, had their conference last week, and Ramon attended that, and I'm excited to share that we received some awards. The Robla School District received an award of merit for our campaign, our communications around the vaccine clinics that we held in our district during COVID. And then we received an award of excellence for our marketing campaign around preschool and TK enrollment. So congratulations to everybody for that. Thank you, Ramon, for accepting those on our behalf. Local control accountability planning. It's that time of year, and Cindy Line has already been hard at work at putting together our plan for the upcoming school year. Part of this process is to engage with our community, and we held our district advisory council meeting on February 21st, where we shared an LCAP update PowerPoint. Do you have that, Mr. Lopez? And we'd like to I'm going to show it to you very quickly. Well, it's pretty short, but I want to run through it pretty quickly. This is the same presentation that we've given to all of our principals, and they will be using this presentation to engage with their teachers at a staff meeting and their staff, with parents at a school site council meeting. And new this year, we're also hoping to engage with student councils because we're required to kind of also get some input from them. So just very quickly, there's our district vision statement. Every slide is also translated into Spanish, so we're ready to do this with our parents. This is an infographic that we'll be soon sending home to all of our families. We put this together. We try to do it a couple of times a year where we're just updating our families about some basic information around our district in a very kind of concise, we hope, engaging way, rather than going through our 100-page LCAP document. And so this is some basic information around the district, and then this edition focuses on, next slide, the way that the Robla School District focuses on the whole child. So here you see the actions and activities that we have that focus on academic needs, physical needs, social and emotional needs, and enrichment that we do here. And then some basic budget information and some facilities information. The board is going to hear more tonight about our transportation plan, and so we wanted to engage with our community around that because there is some new state funding for transportation, and we want to make sure that we meet our requirement that we have a plan for spending this money. and we talk to our community about that. And then these are the kind of the basic questions that we want to ask our families around, what you see in our LCAP. What are the ones that you see are working well? What do you think might need some improvement? And are there any needs that are not being met? So as we finalize our document, we can take these ideas into consideration. Then we have some basic information about TK preschool and kindergarten enrollment, which you want to make sure we're getting out to all families. And then that's it.
Can you go back to that the slide on the info, the earlier one? Yeah. I really like that, and I still think we should have something like that for us, but more detailed for when we go to conferences and other things. That not saying that we don't have all the data, but I would still love something like that for show and tell and everything.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure you have access to it, and then if there's any other things we want to add, we can do that. And then the last thing I want to say in my report tonight is just acknowledging that recently we had a pretty huge loss in the Robla School District. One of our family members, our colleague and friend Corey McGowan, passed away very suddenly. And this has been difficult for many of us who've known Corey for a long time. And we, of course, have a great deal of sympathy that we're sending out to Corey's family, many of whom are also employees in the Robla School District. I want to say how proud I am of how this community comes together to support each other. And we saw lots of evidence of that through financial contributions and contributions of food to the family. The wonderful celebration that was held for Corey at Main Avenue was actually planned by staff, people who put that together so that the family didn't have to worry about taking care of those details. And it just reminds me that this is the way we do things in Robla. This is the Robla way, and I'm very proud of that. So I think that's worth acknowledging a little bit today as well. Okay, and with that, that's my report.
All right. Now we'll move on to board member reports, and we'll start with Trustee Devine.
I had the honor of reading the essays from Black History Month and helping judge them. It was in collaboration with the Roberts Community Center and Robla School District. I must say that everything I read was beautiful. I laughed, I cried. I have real hope for the future, and I have so much just joy for these children. They wear their hearts on their sleeve, and they have beautiful minds, and their writing is absolutely fantastic. So thank you for that.
Okay. Trustee Hamilton Stars.
Nothing to report.
Trustee Barnes.
Just real brief. As Trustee Devine said, we were able to participate in the reading essays, and that is definitely a fun part of this job that we get to do. And so I really do appreciate that. Sometimes being a board member, unfortunately, you have to do sad things, such as going to memorial services, and I was not able to attend Miss McGowan's memorial service because I had taken ill that day. But I'm glad to hear that it went really well. And you're right about this being a family, and yeah, that was that hit us hard. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Well, I will also say this, continue the same sentiments. It was a lot of fun reading the essays. Good to see. I mean, it's funny because you actually get a chance to learn something. I have to admit that I did. There were some things about some figures that I learned that I did not know, and also had a chance to attend the celebration of life. I'll tell you, it was almost, talk about family. It was almost like a family reunion. There were people who came from staff members who came from pretty far away to be there for the family. So I was very, very proud of Robla on that day. As sad of a day as it was, I was very proud of Robla on that day. So thank you to everybody. And with that, we're going to move on to recognition, and we have a resolution for Women's History Month, resolution number 890. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to read it the same way we did last time. So we'll go through, and each one will read a whereas, and then we'll just kind of work our way through it. All right? So I'll start off here. Resolution number 890, Women's History Month, March 2023. Whereas women of every race and ethnic background have contributed and continue to contribute to our country's triumphs and accomplishments in countless ways. And
whereas women have played and continue to play critical roles in the economic, cultural, and social spheres of our nation's life by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working in and outside the home. And
whereas women have played a unique role throughout our history by providing the majority of the nation's volunteer labor force and have been particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in the country. And
whereas women of diverse backgrounds have served as leaders in the forefront of progressive social change, not only to secure their own right of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also to abolish slavery, promote fairness, equality, and safety in the workplace, and advance the modern civil rights movement. And
whereas the role of women in history has been overlooked and undervalued in the past, though its significance is now emerging and assuming its rightful place as an important part of the body of American and world history. And
whereas California Education Code Section 51204.5 specifically calls for instruction in the social sciences to include the study of the role and contributions of both men and women to the economic, political, and social development of California and the nation, with a particular emphasis on portraying the role of men and women in contemporary society. And
whereas the History Social Science Framework for California Public Schools, kindergarten through grade 12, states appropriately that the history curriculum of community, state, region, nation, and world must reflect the experiences of men and women and of different racial, religious, and ethnic groups and must be integrated at every level.
therefore, be it resolved that the Robla School District hereby issues this resolution in honor and recognition of March 2023 as Women's History Month and encourages all educators to commemorate this occasion with appropriate instructional activities.
passed and adopted by the governing board of the Robla School District on the 9th of May, March 2023. I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
So moved.
second,
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we will now move on to presentations, and we will start with our comprehensive safety plan.
This one will be quick. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Superintendent Reyes and my fellow colleagues here at the district. So the comprehensive safety plan contains current statutory safety requirements and district board policy for the Robla School District. The mandated components of the comprehensive safety plan include child abuse reporting, suspensions and expulsions, discrimination, bullying, hate crime reporting, disaster preparedness and emergency operations, and safe ingress and egress. School site councils and school safety committees composed of school leadership, staff, parents, and other stakeholders are required to review the comprehensive safety plan and submit a certification of compliance with all mandated components annually. The comprehensive safety plan is currently being developed in partnership with the superintendent's office to ensure students have a safe learning environment. This plan, after board approval, would be sent over to the county office as well as the Department of Education. This document will be maintained for public inspection in the district office as well as online and on our website. That's it.
We already have a safety plan beforehand, but this one is just modified to meet. Yeah.
Yes. Annual update.
Oh, Annual
Yes.
update. Got it. Okay. I will say this. I actually, just last month, I was actually part of a panel talking about comprehensive safety plans. And it was funny because there were 4 other board members and none of them could find their district's comprehensive safety plan. But I was able to find ours on our website.
Good.
I would just add to what Ms. Sullivan said. We have already identified some areas where we know we need to shore up our plan, even though the plan is currently meets statute. But we've identified the areas that we want to really kind of start paying more attention to. And those are, number one, follow up to the active shooter training. So we've had that initial training, but we want to make sure that we follow that up with the any other pieces that need to be put in place. Secondly, coordination with law enforcement. We need to continue to work on making sure we have a strong relationship as we can with our local agencies. And then thirdly, the area of reunification, which is the process that happens if there is an incident and families have to be reunified, the children and the parents put back together, because we may have evacuated the children, for example, to another school site. And we do have a system for that, an app that works for that, but we know that's something that we need to pay more attention to and work out some of the details. So the board will be hearing more about this as we continue to explore these other areas to strengthen our plan.
Any other questions?
I do, but I'll wait until there's more to present.
Okay. Okay, now we'll move on to superintendent search update.
Isn't it? Just, I'm being reminded that that's an item later tonight that you'll approve the plan.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, good evening again. Cole Sullivan, you guys know me. So this one will be a bit longer because I feel like we have a little bit more to talk about, at least the happenings around the superintendent search. As you know, we began the process January 27th is when I began position advertisement, and when we carried that all the way through the final date for applications, which was March 3rd. We did a broad search in that we all of these different agencies and platforms were used to advertise the position itself. So obviously our district website, social media platforms, thanks to Heather McGowan, I had her support in making sure we sent things out through social media and built a website section, which I'll show you a little bit later in presentation, just a little snapshot of it. We of course advertise through EdJoin, which is the bulk of where we actually receive the applications. It's not only an advertisement platform, but also a place where they can apply online. The Association of California School Administrators, or ACSA, they also have a publication called EdCal that sends out a biweekly newsletter to a variety of administrators throughout the state. If they're members of the association, which many are, it's a very common association for administrators, whether they're superintendents or directors, assistant soups, chiefs, are often members of ACSA. Then also we sent it out through California School Business Officials Association. Sometimes superintendents will peruse those for job assignments and things. So we advertised it on their Career Center website. And we also, on the California Association of African American Superintendents and Administrators, or CASA, and then California Association of Latino Superintendents and Administrators, CALSA. So it was a pretty broad search, and I think that warranted us an opportunity to see a variety of applicants. The scope of the candidates, with ACSA, it's the only website that actually does a how many views for the actual advertisement, and we had 343 views through ACSA's website. 29 total applicants, which include both internal and external. They all carry a variety of administrative experiences, from site level experience to district office, and some are actually active superintendents presently. And then they have a range in their years of public education experience from between 16 to 38. So pretty much a variety. And as you can see, kind of a long-term experience for most of the candidates. And then we actually drew people from a variety of other states. They all have California-based experience, but they have had experience in other states as well. Illinois, Texas, a number of different states were actually cited on their applications. So it was kind of interesting to see the variety that we received. And then they had different education levels. We had 2 bachelors, 13 masters, and 14 doctorate candidates. So the paper screening process actually has already commenced. My committee was very gracious, and I said, look, we have a quick turnaround time, so I'm going to give you the weekend. And at about 7 o'clock on Saturday morning, I sent an email to the paper screening committee and said, okay, here's 29 rubrics and 29 applications that are all anywhere from 8 to 30 pages each. Please take a look and tell me what you think. So there were 13 members on that committee, which included the board, the superintendent, certificated leaders, classified leaders, and then some represented staff, meaning from our bargaining teams or units. The rubric had 7 rated questions and then 1 open comment question. I wanted the paper screening committees to have an opportunity to kind of freeform their thoughts. And we did receive ratings on all candidates as well as open comments. The interview process is next, and I actually was calling candidates tonight based on the top rankings and started booking. I have to finish that process up tomorrow and make sure that everybody is booked for their interviews. And the first round of interviews will be next Wednesday on March 15th, you know, because you already have it on your calendar. And there will be 2 panels. So we'll have the board panel as we discussed, with the superintendent participating on that, and the leadership panel. It'll be kind of a long day for the applicants because they're interviewing back to back with us. And then the second round of interviews, we'll discuss with the board and see if that is a desire of the board. And then we'll determine a date, ideally between the 22nd and 31st of March. So hopefully we can board approve the candidate in April would be the target. Final candidate notification will occur after that process, and then I'm hoping to board approve on April 20th, which is our board meeting in April. And then we did have a community engagement event here this past Monday from 4:30 to 5:30. This was advertised through our social media. I believe we did a benchmark email to family, parents, and we also advertised it by email to staff. We didn't have a great turnout, but we did have 6 staff members, 1 parent, and then 4 people who were a parent and a staff member. So it was kind of a unique perspective from them. All of those comments I have prepared in a written document that I'm going to share with the board by email so that you can have an opportunity when you're interviewing the candidates and considering them for the superintendency, you can know kind of what these people shared from the community. Okay, so I'll send that to you after the board meeting. The other way we engaged our community is Heather McGowan again helped create this section of the website. When you look at the homepage, there's the scrolling banner where you can click superintendent search and it takes you right to this page. It was an excellent page for not only candidates to peruse to see what the process is, but also our community and our parents could see how the process was developing and what the next steps are so that they can stay informed and also know how they can give their input, what opportunities they may have. From the comments, I made a word cloud of the different characteristics that seem to really stand out or repeat themselves from the superintendent's forum. And as you can see, some of them are, you know, humble, calm, humility, well-rounded, integrity, compassionate, approachable. And I really felt like this spoke to who we are as a district, the leadership that Ruben has provided us over his years as not only the superintendent, but as in his principalship prior. And I just see that our community wants us to carry those kinds of character traits and attributes forward into when we're searching for the next superintendent. Who do we see holding those types of attributes? And then finally, the last request of staff is that the superintendent must have a variety of fully stocked candy jars that change monthly with each holiday. That's the last request. Does anybody have any questions about the process that I can answer? No? Well, thank you so much. I know it's going to be a long day. It was a lot to read through all those applications, but I'm excited at how the process is unfolding so far. Thank you.
That last thing is really hard to pull off, by the way.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move forward to facilities update.
Can't believe the superintendent search is real. Bad dream. Just a couple quick things on the facility side. Obviously, with the weather coming in, we're continuing to look at ways to mitigate water intrusion at the facilities where they exist, and trying to address those as best we can. And obviously, looking for some weather to clear up as well to complete some of the other outstanding items that we have, such as blacktop striping and some of the other items that were out there. In addition to that, we did submit on behalf of the district an application for additional TK and preschool classrooms for the Main Avenue site. That is something that was submitted on no later than March 2nd, somewhere in there. It was a blurry week in terms of getting our 24 applications in. But overall, we do anticipate that OPSC will be following up with the district in the coming month, and that the application will go through the review process similar to what we did over at Bell Avenue. In terms of the Bell Avenue project, we're looking to move forward with the project over there. That's the construction of 6 additional classrooms at the Bell Avenue site that will be geared towards preschool and TK instruction. And so we are hoping to have come back to you later this month or in April with necessary agreements to move forward with that, architectural, professional services, and the like. Right now we're looking at getting that process started and moving forward there as well. Otherwise, the reimbursement for Taylor Street from OPSC was approved by the State Allocation Board in late February. We've been telling your CBO that check is coming for I think about 5 months. And so hopefully it does show up later this month or in early April. At last count, and with our last negotiations with OPSC, the grant has increased from approximately $2.18 million to about $2.68 million. So additional $500,000 in grants were realized. That's primarily due to 2 things. The overall adjustment for inflation from when we first reviewed the application to when they actually gave us the money. So we actually benefited from rolling over into the new year. We got about a 9.3% increase in the overall funding per pupil as a result. And then also just as we continue to review those applications with OPSC, just finding other sources of money that were eligible for reimbursements. So overall, like I said, we're hoping to kick off the project over at Bell Avenue and hopefully to finish up some of these outstanding projects that we have. So with that, happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Nope. Always a pleasure to see you.
And just remember, he needs at least a bench, Ruben Reyes bench or oak tree. Put it out there.
Okay, move on to second interim report and certification.
Good evening, President DeLuz, board members, Superintendent Reyes. Tonight we're presenting the 2022-23 second annual, and that goes from July 1, 22 to January 31st, 2023. Those are the actual expenditures and projections for the following year, and also projections for the following 2 years. Before I even start going a slide, I want to make that very public. In the second annual, we include projections. We are not settled yet for our bargaining units, but we include that in our numbers, and we communicate that to Sacramento County Office of Education, the district's proposal. So at least that is included. And so when you compare to the first annual, that's kind of why that changes. I don't know why I broke that. So I think I will pick it up in a little bit. Our presentation is, you have seen this is very familiar. Yes, the numbers change. Always our vision statement, every student reaches their potential in a growth-minded environment, reaching challenging practice and reflect the learning for all. we will cover all of these items that are in here. Um, there's not a lot of changes compared from the first interim, just those assumptions, and we're gonna go a little bit deeper into enrollment in ADA. So this number, the P280 ADA, the districts get funded what is called the P2 ADA, that is from the first day of school to the last school in school month in March, that is completed in April 15. That number actually went down compared to first enrollment because we also had the information from the P1. So that's our average ADA estimated. Another number that it changed is that we are assuming that for 22-23, our funded is the COLA is 8.13%. So that changes from the first enrollment. And as always, all the federal funds are included and not excluded from the following years. A lot of people talk about the lottery. Our lottery is less than 1%, but is divided between unrestricted that we could use for any purpose and restricted that we can only use in it for instructional materials. A lot of our books that we have, but we have used that lottery fund. We all those people getting a lot of money. I was thinking this number would be a lot higher, but it has not increased that much. Our enrollment, I'm just going to focus from 2019-20 to now. So our enrollment has been down 8% or equivalent 165 students. However, we all know that districts in California don't get funded based on enrollment. We get funded based on average daily attendance. So even if the student is excused, we don't get paid, right? So this is based on the student shows up to school, we get paid, they're not. Unfortunately, we look at during this period, I was just looking, this is pre-COVID in March 2020, we declined 8% or 165. What is unfortunately is that if you look at our ADA, for the same period, our average daily day is 224. So we not just have less students, our students, what is are attending less. So we want to notify the board and the public that we have under the leadership Superintendent Reyes cabinet, school principals, and it's something that we have started looking at for a while now, and what specific steps we could do to improve attendance, what grades, what days. So that is an issue that affects our funding. So this is, you calculate that by the ADA is almost $3 million the district lost in revenue during this year. So this is our actual numbers. Right here, you will notice 2021 is the same as this year. In California, we did not report ADA on that year due to COVID. The state gave us a pass. So we didn't even submit a report. We did not have that. So that's yes, they just funded based on the previous years, and that help us that. So even though we increase, so again, less students, but even attending less to our schools. That has a major impact, as you can imagine, in our budget, and that's including in our multi-year projections. So this is our total general fund revenues. We still have $46.6 million. If we look at the unrestricted, that's where the ADA comes, is $28 million. Our local control funding formula that is from ADA is $26.8 million. So that is like about 95%. And if we combine everything together, it's about 57%. This is now like our expenditures, very consistent on the percentage, but the amounts haven't changed. And as mentioned, this includes our classified, we are zero, but our certificated, we are not in that, but however, our proposals are included. So the unrestricted, about 88% of our budget salaries and benefits. When we combine it, is 76%. So this is just the same, just on pie chart. Some people are visual, just general 88% of our general fund expenditures for unrestricted are salaries and benefits. In the right here, because of the description for the right here, the other operating expenditures that that includes all our utilities and all our contracts that included on that line. With their this slide when I was preparing, this is not really there's no change from the first economies. This is our projected contribution to programs where we receive money from the state. We're mandated to do these projects, but they are not enough. So the general fund unrestricted contributes to these programs. And the largest part of that is special education. You've seen this slide before. Probably we have about one more year completing that. We have received about over $13 million in what COVID-19 funds. We have spending it since 1920. And after this year, we project to have about over 700,000 left. So this is a summary, so for several pages in the report. So as a total, we have $19 million started, and we projected to finish with 25. But you look at the unrestricted. This is the column that is really important to keep track, because this is our ADA, our ongoing revenues to cover ongoing expenditures. So this one right here is only we project to have. It's not a deficit, but only like 100,000 over. So this is what is consistent. What I want to point out, this is I know it's a lot of detail, because when you say like, oh, why you have so much revenue? What is the, this $10 million? Those are the programs line by line of what this is the ending balance for the restricted program. So 3 new programs that we have, they make about 88% of our total funds. So this is the 3 programs. And we remember when we create the adopted budget, even those are one time, these programs have an expiration date like 2-3 years down the road. So we cannot. So it's actually a good thing that we cannot use those yet. We have within your package, and we spend a lot of time on general fund, but there's other funds such as child development and the cafeteria. They are included in your report. We have a positive ending balance in all of them. I was talking to Mr. Flores today, right, from the Wildern Fund. I just told him, hey, we're counting on your money because the money that he told us is included in the Wildern Fund. We have not received the money yet, but it's included in here. So we projected about ending balance with about $2 million once we receive the money. Multi-year projections. Again, this is the ending fund balance as a total. So we, fortunately, we have a healthy fund balance, but at the following 2 years, what is called it's a deficit spending. You will see as a whole. And again, it's fortunately we have fund balance, but it's something that we eventually need to balance, and the sooner we do that, we cannot continue year after year. So our fund balance could go from will decrease from 5 million to the following year, and then another 5 million in the following year if something doesn't change regarding our ADA. Or this is our opportunity. Inflation cost is something that is included in the increasing costs. Reserves are critical during a certain time, and I know I said this before, but I think this is more than ever. We just yesterday received a notice. I don't know if anybody knows that. Was yesterday, or I think it was Tuesday. In California, the taxes are going to be due on October 16. So, like the May revise in April, that's how the state projects the revenues or project their budget for the schools. So they just say, be prepared. Whatever they do is going to change. And it's going to change a lot because a lot of the there's several, they know it by name, high earners that were in California have moved out of the state, and the stocks are not doing as well. So we just had to, the research has to be part of our plan. This is our next steps. We will attend a May revise as we will adopt next year budget based on that information. Our bargaining partners attend this conference as well. As mentioned by the superintendent, we will present the LCAP in June, and we continue working with our RTA for negotiations for this year and the following. So even with all of that, even with a deficit expended, I projected for the following years, at this point in time, we recommended the board to approve the second annual as a positive certification. And again, a positive certification means that we will be able, the definition of positive certification, how the county review us, that we are able to meet obligations this year and the following 2 years, and we had the minimum required reserves. So that's where we are. I'm thinking I'm available for any questions.
Any questions? Comments?
Yeah, comments or so. I mean, so to boil it down, I'm gleaning from this is we've got some hard decisions to make, and not much time to make it. Thankfully, we have a reserve to help to give us a little bit of time, but that's not. I mean, we have some hard decisions to make. So I guess that's the only comment that I'm making right now.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, we're going to move on to section 7, approval of the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. I'll second.
Been moved in second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Section 8, action items. Approve, item A, approve schools First Financial Credit Union as third-party administrator for the Robla District's Tax Shelter Annuity Plan, TSA 403B, effective May 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
We'll move to second. Is there any discussion?
Would you like some information about this?
Yes, please.
Nicole, would you mind?
So presently, we self-administer our 403B plan, which requires lots of compliance things. And every time the IRS makes a change to how 403B plans should operate, and also CalSTRS is a part of that conversation because there is education code that also has some compliance components to it when it comes to 403B plans, specifically in public school districts. So right now we self-administer. So I'm the one who actually signs off on every document that crosses my desk if an employee wants to transfer their funds to another plan or wants to begin withdrawals from their plan. What this would do would be alleviate that process from our office. Many districts use TPAs or third-party administrators for that. It helps maintain compliance and keeps the district from being at risk of missing a compliance aspect when they're administering their plan. And Schools Credit Union actually works with about 350 or so districts across the state, and I've been vetting them for over a year now against other TPAs. The positive thing about them as opposed to other TPAs is that there is no cost to the district or the employee for the administration of the plan. Their thought process is it may help them increase their membership on the credit union side by gaining access to our employees. But it is not, so they will be sending promotional materials to try and gain their business in terms of banking, but there won't be actual administrative fees for the 403B component.
Any questions? Discussion? Hearing none, move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. All right, 8B, adopt dismissal of certain certificated probationary employees, resolution number 891.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item 8C, approve transportation plan 2022-23.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
Just that this is a new plan. The state did make some transportation funding available to school districts, but as so often the case, the state requires a plan for how that money will be spent. And so really our plan just outlines how we do our services. Would you add anything to that, Mr. Castillo?
Yeah, so this is, the only thing is just a specific amount is that the state will reimburse the school districts up to 60% of the operating expenditures if we have this plan. So this will be equivalent to about $235,000 additional revenue for the district. So like if we didn't do nothing, we will potentially lose that revenue. So districts have the choice. We already have a transportation plan. We just put it in writing what are we doing, and included in your packet includes all the bus routes that we do. They would cover the district really well, and the idea is that we provide our transportation is for all our students. So we just put that in writing. That's it.
And so the approval of this plan, which is pretty much what we're already doing, is part of the requirement for the funding. Okay.
And it's included in engagement, like it was included in the LCAP. That's another.
Okay. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item 8D, approve service agreement, Cynthia Todd, Orthopedic Impairment Services.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item 8E, approve second interim report, positive certification for 22-23.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item 8F, approve Daryl Roberts and Associates recruitment trip, Black History Colleges.
So moved.
Second.
That should say historical black.
That's
Yes,
what I thought.
yes,
Okay.
exactly.
HBCUs.
So this is a new activity. Actually, both F and G are about the same activity. As the board is aware, I think Ms. Sullivan is very active locally in our recruitment process with the local universities. But one of the things we've talked about doing for some time and have never actually done is the idea that we are well aware that there are young people from the Sacramento area who go to school at a historically black college with every intention of coming to Sacramento, back to Sacramento, and they work when they graduate and they're ready to work. And we've always had this idea that if we could make contact with them while they're in college and plant the seed that Robla School District might be first of all, that teaching might be a great career, and that secondly, that if you were to pursue teaching, Robla School District would be a wonderful place to reach out to students of color. We thought that would be something, especially in these times of difficult. It's been difficult to find teachers. We came up with this idea to set up a plan where Ms. Sullivan and myself, along with one of our principals, Michelle Crisp, would head and visit with a couple of these universities, and through the coordination with Mr. Roberts, set up meetings with faculty in their programs and with young people, and begin the conversation about possibly coming back to Robla to teach. So F is the contract with Mr. Roberts to make the arrangements for this trip, and then G would be the approval of those staff members who would be attending to take this trip out of state for this recruitment purpose.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to amend or a substitute motion that would include the approval of both F and G.
Second. Or I move.
Second.
Okay. All right. So now we're dealing with the approval of both F and G. Any discussion?
I think it's awesome.
I would tend to agree, especially in an era where competing for staff is going to be highly competitive. I think this is an excellent move. Get them while they're there, while they're still thinking about getting into education. Let's give it a try and see how fruitful it can be. It's a relatively small investment with a potentially big payoff. Any other discussion? Hearing none, move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item H, approve service contract, Project GLAD training.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded.
GLAD is an approach that we have been using in the district at a number of our schools, Bell Avenue, at Robla School, and also at Glenwood School. One of the things we have not done is provide GLAD training in Spanish for our teachers in the DLI program. Some of them are trained in English, but we think it's most effective to have them get this training in Spanish. So this is a contract to allow that to happen.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item J, approve board meeting date change, March 23, 2020.
We missed I.
Oh, I'm sorry. I sure did. Approve, item I, approve service agreement, Team One Networking.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Let's have Mr. Lopez maybe say a few words about this.
Good evening, board members. This contract is for the acquisition of network infrastructure hardware that needs to be replaced because it is obsolete and no longer supported.
Well, that was easy. Wait, hold on. Can you say a little bit more about? I mean, what are we moving to that?
This is equipment that supports our network, and we're actually replacing it in phases. We're starting with Taylor and Maine, and we will be bringing forward additional contracts for replacement of additional infrastructure as we progress through the project.
What's the general lifetime of this sort of infrastructure?
The lifetime is dictated by the vendors. Essentially, they publish a roadmap, and it's our responsibility to monitor that roadmap and to ensure that we plan for the replacement of the equipment in advance of its expected obsolescence. And so we missed our window. The vendor has agreed to continue to support us while we go through the process of replacing this equipment. But going forward, we are being proactive and diligent about making sure that we take care of that before this equipment goes unsupported.
Okay. Then most government agencies don't. They're not on the forefront of it, so I'm glad we're doing it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, any additional discussion? Hearing none, move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. All right, now we're on to item J, approve board meeting date change, March 23rd, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
So now that the board has approved Nicole and I to go to New Orleans on March 22nd, we won't be here on the 23rd. So one idea would be to move the board meeting to the following week on the 30th, or any other date that might work for the board.
So I have the 30th specifically is not going to work for me.
Okay.
If we did it the day before on the 29th, I would be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm free the 29th.
Huh?
I'm free the 29th as well.
Yeah, I can do the 29th.
$5:30, same time as normal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're just waiting. Yes. Go ahead.
Bigger schedule. I didn't see the item that we talked about, the reunification app and things like that. Did I miss it?
That was the safety plan, and those things are not yet in the plan. Those are things that are coming. Yes.
Okay.
Is that what it starts? Does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so there's a motion on the table. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Probably, since she'll just be getting back in town not too long before that, make sure to let Trustee Cardona know about the date change.
Thank you. We'll make sure to do that.
And now we're on to item 9. Board member requests for future agenda items. Trustee Devine?
Nothing. Oh, actually, yes. If you're going to New Orleans, please bring us some beignets home.
Nicole wrote that down. Okay. Okay, I know what they are.
Things are delicious.
Trustee Hamilton Starks?
None at this time.
Trustee Barnes?
None.
And I have nothing at this time. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for tuning in.
3 bushel of cracked or shrimp.
Oh, yes, that too. They're